All right, everyone. Thank you all for coming. We're going to have a very brief presentation because I do want to spend a majority of the time on the actual Q&A part of it. Um, so let me go ahead and get my screen sharing going. All right. Everybody good? Can everybody see that?
Yep.
All right. Sounds good. So we're going to go over a little brief update of the West Squad. And just to let you guys know, we have hit 435 members in the West Squad as of Sunday, which means that we have more members now than we finished with last year. So at this point last year, we had about 299 members. So big shout out to everybody on the call right now. Obviously, a huge part of AIS membership and involvement comes at the chapter level, and everybody here has been an excellent leader at their chapter. So thank you for sharing the AIS value at your chapter and helping us grow the Westy Bestie family. So what's been going on? All of you know, because y'all honestly, I don't think any of you have missed a single pod call. Um, but I've done a couple chapter visits. So over there on the left, we have Cal Berkeley, which was a really fun presentation. We got to talk about what AIS is, what they do there, and they were a really welcoming crowd, and that was really nice to see. And then we've had a lot of pod calls. We do 3 a month to make sure that everybody can attend, and we have always a pretty consistent group that comes on our Sunday, our Saturdays, and also our Tuesdays. And then also on the right picture is my horrible instructions on a robot. So essentially, this is at New School. We did this as an icebreaker activity where one person sees the picture, which is up here at the top, and then you have to tell everybody, like your partner, what to draw. As you can see, I drew this very, this one was mine. I tried super hard because I did like a practice one that was like this, like a 3 inch by 4 inch. And then I was like, okay, bet. And I was still incredibly wrong once I thought I had it. And my partner was Bobby for the other one. And we maybe made a robot that had looked a little different, but this is all to say that it's been great to be able to come to your chapters and see what you guys have been up to. So if there's anyone that has anything they'd like me to be able to come to, just let me know and I'll see if I can make it work out with my work schedule and all that good stuff. So I'd love to be able to come see you guys. What's next? Obviously, the very big elephant in the room is the West Squad conference that we're having in Tempe. I almost said Phoenix. I'm sorry. I'm not going to do that. So this is exciting because we haven't had a quad conference in about 3 years. And the last one was in Hawaii. So that's also really one very hard conference to follow up since everyone was like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to go to Hawaii. So, but from what I've been hearing with the planning conference team, this is shaping up to be a really good conference. We're going to have a lot of activities, a lot of good firms involved. And I think it'll be a really great time. So please push this to your members in your chapters. Let them know that it'll be happening March 16th through the 18th still. So those dates have not changed. So if anybody wants to make accommodations, they're able to do so. I'll be sending out an email after Governance Weekend with an update on the conference, which will include all the hotel information that ASU has provided to us so far. But also highly recommend getting your flights. So maybe you want to come a little bit early. Maybe your spring break lines up during that time frame and you can come a week early. So I highly recommend you get your flights or plan your travel accordingly. Does anyone have any questions on the West Quad conference? All right. So what's left to do? Now that we're halfway through the year, one of the big goals for me was to help try and build an AIS community where people are excited to come to meetings. People talk to each other outside of meetings, which is also like the biggest sign of you guys actually like each other, which you guys do. I see everyone laughing at me. And that's part of it too. We're here to have a fun time, but also we're here to get some work done. And I'm glad that we're able to do both of those things because I think that's a very healthy work, fun, work life balance, fun life. Anyways, the vibes, good. So that's one thing I would like to continue doing. I'm not going to just abandon it and hope for the best. So trying to bring in more people to the West Quad community. We have some inactive chapters, and we have some chapters that are still independent, which isn't like a horrible thing, and it's not a bad thing either. I just like to be able to talk to them a little bit more and have them talk to you guys too. As you guys know, our quad pod calls, they're a little more on the, I don't want to say informal side of things, but they're definitely more relaxed, where people can kind of come in and chime in and offer advice to everybody, which I think has been a really huge testament to the leaders that we have in the West Quad. So thank you all for not being too shy about that. And one of the other goals is start posting on Instagram. I've been horrible about posting. All I've pretty much been doing is reposting stories, and I see that as a very horrible weakness. So plan for the next half of the term as West Quad director is to start posting more on the Instagram. So I'd like to be able to post some of the things that your chapters are doing. That way we can also not archive, broadcast it to the entire West Quad community. But also, that's not going to be the only thing I'm going to be trying to post. We'll be posting other things as well. So please stay tuned for that as I begin my journey as an Instagram AIS influencer. And then the next thing is to set up the next West Quad director for success. I think one of the things that made me feel relatively prepared for this position was the extensive training period that I had with Nick. I think we started the week after elections, and we met every single week until July. Granted, it was very great. I don't think we need to do that. By the end of it, we were actually just chatting. Like, we would just meet and just hang out and chat. So it was a good thing. And I love Nick. He's great leader. And I owe everything from this position to him. So, and you guys as well, obviously. You guys are my besties. But for the next West Quad director, we'll figure out a transition schedule that's not too crazy and not too little. I want you to be prepared for the role. There are some things that are more operational that you guys most likely don't know about, and want to help you make sure answer any questions you may have on the process of being what a West Quad director is at an operational level. Then we can kind of figure out how you want to be a West Quad director or just a director in general. As we know, there are an endless amount of leadership styles and things like that. So we got to find the thing that's best for you. Don't try to be the next so-and-so director. One thing I like to say and believe is the best West Quad director is the next one, right? It's just hopefully just always going to get better. And I hope that's the case, and I'm sure it will be. I'm very excited to see how things go this weekend. And that is pretty much the update I have for you guys, because I know we have a lot of candidates this year, and I have a lot of burning questions for all of you. Are there any questions on the West Quad updates? Awesome. Did a fantastic job. What can I say? All right. No peeking at the questions. That was a mistake there. All right. Cool. Okay, so we'll go in order of alphabetical order, and then we'll go back the other way. So, and we're gonna go alphabetical by last name. So, actually, before we get started, just wanted to check in and see how you guys are doing. Do we need to do a little woo-saw activity, or are you guys ready to jump into it?
What'd you say? A woo-saw activity? What is that?
Woo-saw.
Like a little
Need more tea time with Tristan.
more tea time with
There you
Tristan?
go, yeah.
Okay. Come to GovCom and we'll make that happen. We can do tea time and pod calls too if you would like. But all right, guys, considering that you guys are doing pretty good, pretty relaxed, we're going to go ahead and get started. So James, we're going to be starting with you. And I'll repeat the question for everybody. And just as a heads up, I am going to try and keep the responses to about 30-ish seconds because there are 4 of us and we have a few questions that I'd like to get through. So James, why did you choose to become involved in the AIS and what has influenced you to run in this election?
So I got involved in the AIS at an early age. Is something just was another club at the end of high school. And that influenced me to just start going into it, learning more about it, and stick with it as a guiding factor through my very weird career in architecture. What progressed me to becoming a West Quad director is the fact that I've been doing this for a little while, and I've been engrossed between the national committees and my time in the AIS to help upward and help across, to help with chapters from the left to the right, to try to bring us closer together and really make the whole organization feel like a huge organization.
Cool. Thanks, man. All right. Rebecca, same question. Why did you choose to become involved in the AIS and what has influenced you to run in this election?
Yeah, so I became involved in the AIS when my friend nominated me to run for vice president of our chapter. I had never been involved before, but I jumped right in and I loved it. After being chapter president and a member of the governance committee, I feel ready to jump into another role, and I'm really excited for the opportunity to meet so many people outside of my school, just all across the quad. Yeah.
All right. Thank you. All right. Trevin,
All
why did
right.
you choose to become involved in the AIS and what has influenced you to run in this election?
Initially, I don't remember why I got involved in the IAS. I started over at UW. I think it became a way to kind of get involved more in a community that I was just coming into, an architecture community. And it was from that I kind of just like fell in love with the AIS and architecture in general, the study of it, as the culture and the community that surrounded it. It was in moving, in moving to Washington State, and as a result of COVID, that it really the community went away, and I see that problem here in architecture or the architectural education today, and I think that the position of West Quad director would be a great place to resolve that issue.
Cool. Thank you. Very nice. All right. Also, just want to say you guys are doing great on time. Lucy, why did you choose to become involved in the AIS and what has influenced you to run in this election?
Actually, when I first started, I heard about AIS my freshman year, and I actually joined because I needed support. So I wanted to learn more because our school didn't teach a lot about like career and stuff like that. But the more I got into it, the more I understood that like AIS provides a huge and really, really solid platform for students. So it almost becomes like an optimistic like catch-all for students to provide support for each other. And that's mainly what drives me now, is like being able to spread the value and like the optimism that it brings and the kind of the inspiration that we all have, because I think we all want to advance our careers, advance the architecture profession and ourselves. So yeah.
All right. Thank you. So we will be changing the order of things on the way people go. I've been informed that I had the incorrect way. So the way that it's going to be going is the second person who answered will then be going first. So it'll be rotating in it. So it'll be rolling around. So every 4 times you'll be going first again. So just keep that in mind. All right. Okay, so we're going to jump to this question. What about this quad inspires you, and what about this quad would you like to improve? And we will go ahead and start with Rebecca.
Yeah, okay. Well, something that inspires me about this quad is just how diverse it is. We cover a really large area of land, and because of that, we have just a really wide range of people and chapters and ways of doing things, from really small chapters to really large chapters. I think it's really great. But that also kind of ties into what needs improved is the connection between it. It's easy for some chapters when they're near each other, but harder when chapters are totally isolated. But I think that that is something that I would really like to help with is connecting chapters with each other across the quad.
Nice, thank you. All right. Sir Trevin, what about this quad inspires you, and what about this quad would you like to improve?
Yeah. I mean, the West Quad is obviously the best quad. I've lived in California, Oregon, and Washington, so I'm very biased. But I'm really inspired by kind of the culture that surrounds the West Quad. The kind of we're more chill. We're a little bit more fun. I think that doesn't have any effect on the quality of work that we do. But I'm really inspired by kind of the attitude we all bring every day. And I can't do anything but echo what Rebecca said about improving the quad. Interconnecting all of our chapters is incredibly important. Just 8 miles from Wazoo is U of I, and sometimes we even have issues connecting with each other. So that's something I want to work on for my chapter and for the quad in general.
Got it, thank you. All right, Lucy, what about this quad inspires you, and what about this quad would you like to improve?
So the first thing that I noticed is that like the AIA chapters around the area are typically more inclined to support because of this kind of like relaxed and like independent culture. It's kind of not like, not to call out New York, but New York City, their chapters are pretty like at each other's throats. So I'm glad that like our quad has that opportunity to really connect with the profession well. But this diversity and independence is also kind of like a double-edged sword. So that's kind of something that I want to work on. It's not bad to have both the independent and also a community that you can rely on a national scale. So, echoing everyone else's, I also really want to connect, be able to bring each other's like collective strengths that people have like collected over time to gradually make the West Quad better.
Thank you. James?
This is a really hard one to go last because I agree with Rebecca, Trevin, Lucy. Why I love the AI or the West Quad in particular is because of how physically diverse we are. We come from the largest distance we can from each other, which comes with the double-edged sword of the fact that we need to come together as chapters more physically, especially trying to make the trips to go see each other. I know growing up in Ventura College, I didn't have a chance to go see Pomona or SLO or whatever, even though they were a 30-minute drive away. And that's one of the things I definitely think we should work on. Also, one of the reasons why I love the West Quad is the fact that we're all so chill, relaxed, rolling with it, which just makes it more fun. And I just want to keep that going, keep that rolling, and make sure that we're all here to have a good time, but here to learn from each other. Yeah, just second everything that everybody else said because that was right on the head of all the things that make us great and what we need to work on.
Perfect. Thank you. Yeah, just want to say connecting people, it's fun. Geographically, very hard in the West Quad. But I'm glad you guys all seem to be passionate about that. It's nice to hear everybody's passions and what they want to do. All right. Let's see. All right. Next question. We'll be starting with Trevin. What is one thing you hope to accomplish in your year if elected?
I don't have like a resolution to pass specifically that I want for our national board. And I don't have a number, a data point that I need us to reach. What I want to do with the West Quad is the same thing as I've done with my chapter, and that's to increase engagement, bring back kind of like that studio culture that I was missing when I came over here to Wazoo. And we've had a lot of success doing that here. And that's what I want every single chapter to feel like, because I think it's just such an important part of our education. So, thanks.
Cool. Thank you. All right. Lucy, what is one thing you hope to accomplish in your year if elected?
One thing I specifically want to work on is actually creating like almost like a leadership training workshop, because kind of as West Quad director, we have like a sort of distance toward the chapter members themselves. So like one way you can help them grow their chapter is grow their leadership. And that's what I struggled with the most as chapter leader. It's like you almost get thrown into this position. So I kind of want to make that transition a little easier for people, and also give like the leaders an opportunity to learn from each other, from that, you kind of relate to each other. And that's in a way what grassroots was for me, but I wish it was earlier.
Gotcha. Cool. And all right, then we're going to move to James. What is one thing you hope to accomplish in your year if elected?
So I want to try to tackle the same problem as Lucy, just in a different fashion. So we all talk about how we're all physically diverse, but we need to be closer together, but we haven't really brought up solutions. My solution that I was going to try to implement was I was going to put together a chapter membership program or mentorship program. So taking a look at where everybody is at geographically and telling chapter presidents to, hey, you should contact this person. Hey, you should contact this person. Hey, you should contact this person. Almost putting universities in charge of certain areas of the country to try to be in charge of outreach, because everybody sits there and goes, well, you should talk to them, and actually trying to get the connections together and working on that mentorship between the chapters so that everybody can learn from each other, and starting that communication by me kicking it off is the major thing that I want to try to tackle as West Quad director, is getting that ball rolling.
Cool. Thank you very much. And Rebecca, what is one thing you hope to accomplish in your year if elected?
Yeah, I would like to help support connection between kind of the national AIAS and the individual chapters, with the presidents being the like contact point with the West Quad director and things like that. I feel that sometimes it can get a little separated if you're just like a general member. So I would want to find ways to reach out to general members, not necessarily as like, they have to like talk to me, but just know that they have that opportunity, and then support more people being able to physically connect with each other when we have things such as conferences and things like that. So just reaching out beyond chapter presidents and really connecting with everyone at all the chapters.
Great. Thank you. Also, you guys are still doing so well on time. Like 50 seconds, I think, is the longest we've gone. So that's okay. All right. Trying to pick my next one. All right. We'll do this one. And we will be starting with Lucy. Yes. All right. What values and passions about our quad do you plan to bring to the board of directors?
Optimism and energy. I think those are my key values too, because that's just me as a person. And also it kind of ties into West Quad in general. We have like a lot of energy, and but because we're so far apart, I feel like there's a lot of potential to bring that energy together. And we're pretty optimistic, we got sunshine and everything. I'd love to bring that in and like have more of it. It's great.
Tristan muted.
Man, I thought I hit it, and I didn't. I hit my like the little Windows icon. I hit that, and it was just a mess.
Yeah,
'Cause then
I
it
can just
covered
get
it.
rolling.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. So where I was gonna go was professionality and chill. So I know a lot of the other chapters take themselves incredibly seriously, as they should, but on the when it comes to the board of directors, making sure that everybody's chill, everybody's there to have fun, everybody's there for a good time, but still getting work done and getting things produced for the members is one of the things I really want to push as West Quad director, to bring to the board of directors. Bringing work ethic and bringing experience, because I know we have some pretty old schools on the West Quad, even though East, Midwest, Northeast Quad and South Quad have some of the older schools. We've been around for a while too, so making sure we bring our experience to the table is the other thing that I really want to make sure that we bring to the board of directors.
Great. Thank you. All right. Rebecca, what values and passions about our quad do you plan to bring to the board of directors?
Yeah, I would say excitement and outreach. I am just always so excited about everything the AIS is doing, and outreach has been my favorite part of being chapter president. I love walking around to the other studios. They see me coming, they know I'm going to talk their ear off about whatever we've got coming up next. And I really enjoy that part of it. And I think the West Quad director position is exactly the place for excitement and outreach.
Great. Thank you. All right. Trevin.
Yep. Yeah, I again with the values of the West Coast, that kind of more relaxed vibe. I think that that's something that needs to come from the West Quad. Not that the South Quad can't have fun, but I think we have the most fun, and I think that I would want to bring fun to the board. No shot at you or Cooper down there, but that's what I would want to bring or keep coming with, as well as kind of like the passions of having a very social aspect. In the West Quad, we are very social. Even up in the Pacific Northwest, we're kind of known for being quieter. That's still something I want to bring to the board as well.
Nice. Thank you. And just like that, we're back to the original order. Crazy how that works, right? Okay. Next question. We will start with James. It is, what skills do you possess that would make you a great collaborator with the other quad directors in order to make connections and accomplish united goals? The question is also in the chat if you need to read it again. It's a long one.
It's a long one, but it's a good one.
Yep.
The skills that I possess that would make me a great collaborator with the other quad directors is, I would say, charisma and experience. So collaboration starts with starting a personal connection with the person and understanding their ways of thinking and their ways of going about things, which is something that I know that I possess. And the experience side of it is, I know everybody comes with a different set of skills, and I know I will come with a set of, all the happy stuff I've done in the past. So having the experience of the past makes it so that I'll be able to understand where they're coming from. I know where I'm coming from, and make new solutions and ideas to collaborating with the other quads and trying to get that connection rolling. Hard question, Tristan. Hard question.
Beautiful answer. All right. Thank you, James. Rebecca.
Yes. Let's see. Well, something I pride myself on is being a good listener. And I think that that is the foundation of any good collaboration. I think that I would be able to listen to both the quad directors, but also the chapter leaders and the members of the chapter, to make sure that what the members of the West Quad want to see are being brought to the table, and finding out what the other quad chapter members are needing and wanting from their quad directors. And I think that I would be able to bring that all together.
Great. Thank you. Trevor.
Alrighty. Yup. So I think most notably in terms of skills in connecting with these other quad directors, I think you can see it in kind of like my time at Grassroots most recently, and trying to round up all of us with those yellow badges up, everybody in West Quad. Even before I was considering leading our fantastic quad. I really want to connect all of these people together, and I think that is going to continue even outside of our quad. And to accomplish goals with I don't know, within all 4 quads, I think that I'm very willing to take a back seat and listen rather than be the loudest person in the room. And I see that as a strength when it needs to be.
Great, thank you. Lucy.
So one of my biggest skills that I take a lot of pride in is I'm very curious and I love learning from people. And it's really great because there's a lot of different skill sets and a lot of different personalities in the AIS. And it's really nice to be able to have that opportunity to learn from each other. And actually one of my biggest paths of growth this year was actually being able to talk to Tristan, Colt, and Julia about different things. And I just want to bring like empathy and like curiosity and optimism to the board of directors, because I think we all have something to learn from each other.
Cool, thank you. All right. Our next question, also a long one, but it's also a very, very good question. Quad directors have the responsibility of being a full-time student or recent graduate beginning their career, an aide to organizing the quad conferences, and a director responsible for making big decisions about the future of AIS programs and finances. As a quad director, how would you work to balance communication with your regional members, the board, and your personal responsibilities? I will give you guys another few moments to read that before we get started with Rebecca. So whenever you're ready.
Okay, yeah, that is a long one. Another good question though. I would say I'm the kind of person who is always trying to do everything. I always have a lot of different things that I take onto my plate, and I have found that I am able to balance that quite well, being full-time student involved in multiple organizations and multiple committees and boards and such. And so I think that I have had the practice that would be necessary to balance the communication and the work that this position requires. And yeah, I love talking to people. So I think communication with all of these different people would be pretty easy for me, because I just love chatting with new people and reaching out and making things happen that people want to see.
Cool. Thank you. Trevin.
Yes, sir. I think that as chapter president, I've been kind of the point of contact for everybody. And it certainly feels like a full-time job in and of itself. But I've taken it in stride, and I intend to continue with that even at the quad director level. So I have no apprehension towards kind of increasing that load.
Got it. Thank you. So we are going to move to Lucy.
So first things first, I'd probably have to let my work know that I'd be doing this. And also from experience this year, I've realized that I can't do everything. So one thing that's really helped me and can probably help me in the future is adding structure and routine and priority into it, because there are certain times for certain things, and having a routine to check in on members or chapter visits will really help me set a standard for myself, and also like give all the members kind of like an understanding of what I'm going to do. So, and that's going to help me with my time management as well.
Great, thank you. All
All right. Don't forget about me, Tristan.
right. Yeah, go ahead.
So this past quarter system has really taught me about time management because I do 100 different things. And with Lucy, I realized I can't do everything. So if I were to be elected into this position, I know I would go through a big redo of my personal time, cut a lot of the other extracurriculars out of the way. But I've been able to do 100 different things at once between being a school ambassador, vice president of another club and whatnot. I know I would have the time to do this. The biggest thing that I know I can do is because of work and school, I'm up at all hours of the day and I can always find time to have an open door policy, take a phone call from any chapter at any time if it's 6 in the morning or 3 a.m. So I know I'd always be able to create a form of communication, check my phone, check whatever I need to do to stay in communication and be able to balance all the work that needs to happen on top of school and work itself.
Got it. Thank you. Next question, and we'll be starting with Trevin. How would you, as a quad director, stand up for architecture students who are less engaged, not financially able to attend events, or who are traditionally left out of AIS culture and bring them into the fold?
Toughie. Yeah, I think that I've been an advocate for those who are less than involved or less than able to be. Over at Washington State, our membership is definitely higher than what National sees. Sorry. They may not all quite be paying dues, but I've still kind of allowed them to come into our events and encourage them to still attend because that engagement is so much more important than the check mark, at least, here at our chapter level. As a quad director, I would choose to kind of influence our chapters to be a little bit more accepting. If we could have a greater emphasis on our, I'm blanking on the name right now. The membership donation program. If we could have a greater emphasis on those types of programs within the West Quad, that would be fantastic as well.
Okay, in respect of time, we're going to be limiting answers to like 20 seconds for the next bit. So let's go with Rebecca.
Yeah, so I would say that the way that I would do this is to keep including like virtual events for people who can't physically attend things. Even though it's not our favorite, it's a great way to help include that.
Cool, thank you. Let's go with Lucy.
So one thing I will do is to support the chapters in finding resources for financially, because I think there is still a lot of value in like the membership. Yeah, I'll keep it short. Sorry.
Fine. Yeah. Okay, cool. James.
+1 to everything everybody else said. Y'all were stealing my line, but those were all amazing ideas that I was gonna bring up. The other thing is making sure that utilizing the Council of Treasurers that's been brought up before, because I know we've put out a lot of good resources in helping people financially. So if a chapter is good, I know they can help their members more than I ever could, and empowering the chapters to do so is what I really want to push.
Cool. Thank you all for your time and answering the questions. We'll be posting this later so all the other delegates can view, and we will go ahead and see you in the main breakout room. Thank you.